Do you have family? Are there friends? We don't. And a lot of times, like, we don't even suggest, hey, go to a hotel, because what again, who is there that knows your assailant? Who knows these people? Um, so we try to plan with the women that contact us, um, from the start, even on that initial intake. It's all about planning for your safety and making sure that you understand you have to be more vigilant right now, because abusive people are also often very manipulative, and they're also very crafty. And so a lot of times they already know your routine, and they know, like, well, she goes to work at this time, or I can catch her doing this at this time. I know she goes to get the kids at that time. And so it's very important that you have options and you understand how you need to move about. And so there are a lot of things that we do with our victims, which we don't talk about, because telling what the safety plan is actually jeopardizes their safety even more.
So I was going to say, why don't you run us through what happens when someone comes to Oasis House? But why don't you give us a full introduction to Oasis House for Healing and Restoration, so that we can just truly understand what you've created and why you created it based on your experience with the system.
Okay. So Oasis House for Healing and Restoration was launched in April of 2022, and we serve and help victims, women victims of domestic violence and intimate partner violence and abuse, to heal and restore their lives in a safe space, in a comfortable way, which is often uncomfortable, because healing is uncomfortable. But we offer wraparound services such as safety planning, like tangible items like hygiene, safety kits, again, safety planning, resources that we don't provide, which I think we're going to get into in a second, but understanding that what we're not able to provide, like, we don't do mental health therapy. And so we have to make referrals to therapists in conjunction or in combination with what we do offer. So a lot of therapists, they don't have like a food pantry. Well, now Oasis House has, really just in the last 2 weeks, we're starting an actual kind of food pantry, where if there's a woman that has escaped a violent situation, and she's starting over, or she's just fallen on hard times because of this violent situation, we're able to offer food, and even like one young lady, we gave her like 9 bottles of baby formula, which it seems really small, right? But when you're getting out of a situation and you have nothing, and you have an infant, how are you going to feed your baby? And so being able to provide those tangible items, as well as the emotional help that they need, that's what we are striving to do at Oasis House. I think I said Monday we've already assisted 7 women, and we've received our tax exempt status in July. And really, yes, the assistance that we've provided has really come in the last 3.5 months. So I would say since the end of July, early August, is when we really started getting calls and referrals. And now those calls and referrals are coming more regularly. We have a Facebook group it's not a private Facebook group, because we're not really sharing, we don't share incidents that are not already public. So this Facebook group, and you guys can search on Facebook for Oasis House for Healing and Restoration. It's an open Facebook group. but we're really, that's a space where we can have conversations and we can share information about other cases that have occurred, um, that's already public, and then people see that stuff, right, and they're sharing these stories that we're sharing on this Facebook group with their friends and family, and that's how we're getting a lot of referrals now. It's word of mouth, and so, and since then we've been able to partner with another nonprofit called Planted But Not Buried. I'm sorry, it's not a nonprofit yet. Planted Not Buried is actually an LLC, and it is an organization where it's a collaborative now. And so we have various businesses and other organizations, and we've teamed up to offer joint services, which is really important because when you, again, much like our partnership, the importance of, we are a resource center, we are a help center, we're like that service station, like off the turnpike, right? You go, you can rest, you can shower, you can use the restroom, you have all these different services, right? But some service stations have a Panera and some have a Sbarro, right? So if you want Sbarro but you're at the service station that has Panera, well, now we have to give you directions to get to the service station that has the Sbarro. So that's the importance of combining resources with other organizations. I feel like we are not in competition with one another. This is really something that we need to do as a team, because we can cast a wider net, we can have a greater impact if we work together. Absolutely. And if we are saying, we don't have licensed therapists. We are offering a grief support program, which we talked about on our last show. But knowing that people also need mental health therapy, and specifically abuse victims need trauma therapy.
And that's the beauty of partnerships, and that's the beauty of nonprofits, because we're able to address the issues within the community that we are passionate about.
Absolutely.
Where we have a knowledge, whether it's firsthand knowledge from experience, whether it's because we've been doing it for so long and we have a comfort around it. And I want to be able to come to someone or send someone to someone like you who can say, hey, before you do that, make sure you're aware of this. And if that can stop someone from being tripped up, from losing the momentum to carry on, because it's not easy navigating the system. It's not easy to get to that finish line when you have so many challenges. But it's so much smoother when you have advocacy and support, and that's what we provide. That is what we work together to make sure that we are a safety net for our community. And we want people to understand that don't suffer in silence. Come to us. We are advocates. We want to support you, and even if we don't have the support today, we're always out here making connections with someone somewhere else, so that we can be who you need, so that we can get you to the resources that you need. No one should have to suffer. And it's a joy for me when somebody looks at me and says, I didn't know what I was going to do until I spoke to you.
And I think that's so important, because that was the main reason I started Oasis House. It was not for like attention. It was because, oh my gosh, like that was my thought. Every time something happened, it was like, oh my gosh, like, why can't I reach this? Why am I not being communicated with? It's like, this is my case and I don't know what's going on, or this is my case, and you know, I don't have access to certain resources because I'm deemed safe. Like, so yes, physically, I'm in a different situation. You know, I'm not in that apartment. He's not in that apartment anymore. And so the system says you're safe. That's what the system says. But we know, and research says that is absolutely not the case. That safety doesn't mean that you're just no longer face to face with your abuser.
And let's talk about that for a minute. She was deemed safe because she had resources. She had a family she could go to for help. But there are things that maybe your family doesn't even know how to handle, like disenfranchised grief. So sometimes we think, and even you just said, I didn't start my organization for attention. And that's another issue that we have. Am I allowed to speak on this? Are people going to think I'm seeking attention?
And they do. And you know, to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, because people need us. I don't care because people need us.
There's too many women who don't know certain things. So for instance, at the time of my incident, I was a full-time entrepreneur. I lost all my business equipment that night. And physically was not able to work. But also emotionally and mentally, like, definitely was not able to work either. What I didn't know, they have this thing called victim assistance compensation, or violent crime victim compensation program. So I filed my paperwork and was denied. I was denied because I didn't have a note from the doctors who saw me and evaluated me that I had to take time off of work, and that I didn't have a written letter or no documentation saying I had a specific return to work date, or that I needed 3 months off, or anything like that. Who knows that you need that? Especially as an entrepreneur.
So that's one of those little
controlling my schedule, right? But
you're still losing money if you're not
still
working.
Losing money. I still don't have the things that I need. But I'm thinking, well, it's in my control, right? I make my own schedule. I'm my own boss. So am I supposed to write myself a letter? And this is not information that they give you when you're in the hospital or when the incident occurs. This is something that you find out once you get the application after you're released. And then you apply, and then they deny you. It's like
so it's really late in the game. And who has the gentle manner to speak to someone who's fresh out of a domestic violence situation to say, hey, I know you're dealing with your mental well-being, but you got to think about this, or you won't get the help you need later.
So what we're working to do now, and I thank God that we really haven't had many clients and victims that have come to us who need that level of assistance, but it's there. And one of the things that we try to do is we let them know, like, when you're ready, we're going to help you get these things going. We're going to help you fill out your paperwork. We're not lawyers, so we can't give you legal advice, but we have lawyers that we can refer you to. We have mental health therapists that we can refer you to. But because I went through the situation myself, I have a personal experience with the gaps and the resources that we're not told about or we're not fully guided on. And I think that puts us in a different position, because now we're able to work one-on-one with the women that come to us, and I can help them complete their paperwork. Mm-hmm. And it's sad that there is this much paperwork for a victim. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that really got to me, was like, I literally have to jump through hoops. I remember I wanted to change my bank account and I couldn't. I couldn't change my bank account because some of the paperwork that I needed to verify my own identity was in the apartment. That I was re-traumatized every time I went into this apartment, and also didn't feel safe because the elevator didn't work in the apartment. It was really finicky, and it was just an open parking lot. You know, there was nothing to really protect me if I had to go to that apartment by myself and get anything. But some of the stuff that I needed was in the apartment, but it was in the stuff that had been destroyed that night as well. So when I had to go get like tax forms, well, I don't know where those are anymore. Or I can't, like, is there another way that I can identify myself? You know, my social security card was there, my old passport was there, so I couldn't even renew my passport because I was missing all this documentation. And you don't realize that you need all these things. But we also don't realize, like, you can also file for like temporary public assistance and things like that to ensure that some of your needs are being taken care of. So that's one of the resources that we offer, is that one-on-one guidance to help make your process, like we're gonna walk with you hand in hand to make sure that you have access and you are knowledgeable about everything you need, and that you're the one that, like, don't ever let someone tell you that they don't have your medical records for your case and they can't get it. No, you as the patient, you have access to your own medical records. You can request your own medical records, and if anything is missing or incorrect, you can ask your physicians or whoever to make those corrections. Okay. And keep going back to the doctor to get checked, because like in my case, I have some residual stuff that's going on just from the assault. Okay. But again, you know, these are things, gaps in the system that we just don't know about. And my experience has taught me that needs to be one of the focal points for Oasis House, to help women understand what their rights are, what they need to do, and the importance of, once it happens, we have to work hard to completely disconnect from our abuser, because once it happens, it's going to happen again.
Okay. So this is not an easy conversation, but we do want to highlight a few resources that are available in the community. And also with the understanding that don't ever be discouraged by a closed door, by a misunderstanding, because there's somebody out there. There's somebody out there who can support you. So even if you call that 800 number and they're not understanding you and you don't get what you need, keep trying.
Yep.
Don't give up. There's somebody out here. If it's not at Point of Freedom, if it's not at Oasis House, keep trying. Try to keep that motivation, because from this conversation, I hope you can see that we care. And there's so many other people just like us So let's talk about a few resources.
Yes. So the domestic violence, I don't have this number memorized, which is terrible. I should have it memorized by now. I always have to look it up. But the domestic violence hotline, it is a national number. It's 1-800-799-7233. That's 1-800-799-7233. They have an online chat that you can use, or you can actually text them. So you can have a conversation via text message, and that's 88788. You text the word START, START, to 88788, and that is a direct connection to the domestic violence hotline. If you need assistance with safety planning and other resources, you can start with Oasis House. Our number is 234-233-5249. That's 234-233-5249. Our website is oasishouseforhealing.org. There's a form on there where you can sign up to receive information from us via email on how to get additional resources and help. But then there are other organizations for mental health crises, NAMI, NAMI.org, and then the suicide prevention and crisis hotline. You just dial 988. Again, that's 988. So that's a new number. I forget the old number, but 988 is the new suicide prevention and crisis hotline.
Okay. Yep, and we will make sure that we'll compile a list and include it in our link tree so that everyone can find a nice list of resources. And soon, a lot of those resources will be readily available for you to access through our app, Break Free Clee.
Yay!
So thank you so much, and I just want to kind of wrap us up by reiterating something you said. You said healing is uncomfortable, and I think we all know that, whether it's that sore, that yes. when it starts to scab, it starts itching, but that you got to rock through that itching so that it can heal, or whether it's when we start to find out the truth and grow spiritually or emotionally, and it hurts, and sometimes we have to battle through those ugly feelings, but we're here to support you. So absolutely. Even though we can't take the discomfort away, we can offer you something to bring you ease as you navigate through the process. We are here. Take good care, people. We love you.
Love you guys.